Which gadget's functionality was so frustrating it seemed the developers never tested it themselves. I once had a laptop with the power button on the side of the front corner. You know, where everyone always grabs the computer to move or adjust it. The number of times that computer got shut off accidentally is way too high. Product design team and QA should be fired. YouTube interface on a lot of smart TVs. The water dispenser on the inside of my fridge. 90 of digital alarm clocks. They have two buttons usually. To increase time, decrease it, set an alarm, display time, skip alarm, snooze, stop alarm, everything. More buttons. The seat folding mechanism in the back seat of my 2015 Kia Forte. The latch to unlock them is only in the trunk, and just in reach when I open the trunk, but I have to either climb into the trunk and push the seat forward while pulling the latch or pull the latch with one hand while reaching into the passenger door to pull the seat forward, so it feels like I'm hugging my car. Oh, and there is one spark plug underneath, some electrical component that is fixed above the spark plug, so I have to remove both the electrical part and its housing to access the spark plug, and 2 or 3 other spark plugs are so close to these metal tubes that they bust your knuckles when taking them out. My old coffee pot that had a built-in grinder, made in a way that the steam from the brewer would get into the grinder. That would cause it to get all gummed up with wet coffee powder. If you didn't take apart, clean completely dry the grinder after every use, it'd get jammed up. Drove me crazy. Touch screens in cars while actually driving. Printers. All of them. iTunes or whatever it is called now, as soon as the click wheel was done away with iPod Touch iPhone. They went from Steve Jobs' rule about the UI needing to be super intuitive, to whatever the monstrosity I am forced to use is supposed to be. I only need 3 options and they could be really big: search, playlists, and rarely, artists. I don't need radio, ads, or any of the other stuff. Doesn't qualify as a gadget, but Meta's FBI G settings business backend makes me feel like I'm losing my mind every time I try to do anything. About half of the software I use. So much is written by people who are incredibly smart at understanding coding, but have no concept of human factors UX UI. The clinic I work at uses software called Visual Outcomes that is just utterly awful. The font size of your notes can suddenly change to 6pt. The color of your notes will spontaneously become yellow and unreadable. Our interns complain about it every year, but since the clinic invested the money in buying it, the only answer we have is type your notes in Word or Notepad, then cut and paste them into VO. Or use Roman 6 or Emacs. We shouldn't have to do workarounds, because some programmer creates software that they don't have the day-to-day frustration of actually using. I am reminded of the Apple mouse that had the charge port on the bottom, so you couldn't use it while it charged. Nest Google Cam has a feature to identify familiar faces. However, I want to identify unfamiliar faces. Who cares if my friends and family show up? Tell me when a stranger does. The rear door on my Honda Odyssey. Apparently if you have the upgraded package with the power door, you can adjust how high it opens. But I have the basic package with manual open-close, so I'm stuck with it at head cocking height. We've had it for 5 years and I still bump my head at least once nearly every time I buy groceries. And I'm not unusually tall. My laptop has a numpad. They squished the entire keyboard over, crammed in the pad, and for extra giggles they stuck the teeny tiny power button right above numlock. I have accidentally shut this stupid thing off so many times. I'm a nurse's aide, and there's a whole bunch of equipment that I swear was invented by someone who had never set foot in a hospital. Pretty sure whoever designed the interfaces at Hulu, Peacock, and Paramount, and Disney never actually scrolled through the lists, or searched for anything. They are so frustrating. If you search through the menus for a bit and then go to search, it's horribly clunky to maneuver. Netflix is the only one that's user-friendly IMO. Not really a gadget, but for fuck's sakes, Facebook's entire website design. I have more of a problem with its functionality than almost anything else with it. Notifications still active even though I've already read the message. Newsfeed showing me posts from friends days old as they are still actively posting recent ones. I sometimes have tried to log on and I got rerouted to a part of the login where it looks like it's from the early 2010s. Like, it's fucked up. The power glove old. My new microwave continues to beep when it's done, until you go manually turn it off. Who thought that was a good idea? Maybe there's a setting I missed to turn it off, but still. Roombas. It's like the devs have never actually watched one try to navigate. The cornballer invented by George S.R. The Apple TV remote with a trackpad was a considerable downgrade from the one with the scroll wheel. Did it fit with Apple's minimalistic design direction? Sure, but from a functionality standpoint, it is so cumbersome. I love them, but the designers were on crack when they made the N64 controller. I work at a pet store, and am certain that no one who designed our display store cages ever had to clean them or even put an animal in them. Entire portions of our bird display can't be properly cleaned by anyone who isn't 6 feet tall and skinny, and you need a ladder to clean our top row of small animal cages. Windows Update, which was designed by a bunch of twats who have managed update deployments from their IT department. Portable CD players before shock resistance became a thing. Apple TV remote. It's so small that it gets lost in the couch regularly. The touchpad goes from 0 to 100, so I'm constantly swiping back and forth trying to land on the right tile. It doesn't have enough buttons to navigate, fast forward, etc. Watching live TV via the Apple TV is painful. It's the only Apple product I dread using. The remote widget on the iPhone is similarly awful. Wise cameras are so glitchy and poorly supported that I finally just sold them all and switched to a better brand.